Oh, we live. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Gathering Old Men Podcast. I'm Troy. TP is here. Little man, Isaiah, correct?
Yes, sir.
Isaiah is here. Marlo is on the way. He is dropping off the grandbaby. TP, I saw it today, but I ain't saying that because I felt like it would be wrong to be calling out Florida players at the SEC Media Day. But somebody took time out their day in the SEC to talk about he don't like them guys over there at Florida State. And respectfully, the feeling is mutual. It ain't been a rivalry in a long time, TP. But I don't care if y'all wake up every morning and stub your toe.
Every morning.
All of y'all, all 82 scholarship players, stub y'all toe at 3 a.m. at the exact same time. I don't really care.
So
You
do you
chose to go to
expect it to
Florida.
not be beef between Florida and Florida State?
Oh, no. It was SEC Media Day.
So,
I expected it to be SEC beef.
I
We ain't
mean,
even there.
yeah, I get that. But when you can barely compete with the people in your own, you know what? Don't even get.
They on the verge of getting another coach fired.
Woo! When you can barely compete with the other teams in your own conference, why not resort back to your original rivalry? Why not? Because you got to take a shot at somebody. Go ahead and take a shot at Georgia. Take a shot at Alabama. See if they don't come down there and slap the shit out you.
All I know is we was minding our own business.
Right?
At home, chilling on the couch. And we getting called out.
I mean, Dak Prescott don't be doing nothing, and I make time every week.
I'm not gonna judge you on that.
I mean, violence is the word of the day. It's Thursday. I always choose violence on Thursday.
Cause it just
You will always get violence on Thursday.
Marlo is on the pod.
Make no mistake.
And it's Thursday, and I normally look for beef on Thursday. Not this week. Not this week. Beef found me. So I just, I was like, oh, he took time out his day to say he don't like them dudes at Florida State. You know who ain't talk no shit about Florida State? LSU. LSU ain't take no time out their day to talk about Florida State. Cause they know we will dig in that ass. So I mean, did I miss something? Yeah,
Is that
so
is that facts though? Because last time I checked, y'all barely beat them when they were trying to give y'all the game.
TPU of all people know a dub is a dub. It ain't gotta be pretty. It can be ugly. As long as it's a dub, it's a dub.
Okay.
I am the first one to admit that my head coach, every time he put that headset on, I get a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first to admit how you keep a job when you lose to a team that attempted one pass in the second half. I am the first to admit that. But you know what he did well? He beat LSU. That's all I need. A team that can't beat Wake Forest, that can't beat North Carolina State, that only attempted one pass in the second half, but beat the SEC West champion. Nah, yeah. We gonna talk that. We gonna talk that shit. LSU ain't talking, but we gonna talk.
Are y'all gonna play each other this year?
Yes, first game.
No, not LSU. Florida.
Yes, every year.
Every year.
After Thanksgiving, every year.
So they kind of gotta, you know, you gotta keep that rivalry live because Florida really doesn't have an interconference rivalry. That's their media pitch. That's the only game people really gonna care about going into this season because it creates controversy early. They can't talk shit to Alabama, like I said. They can't talk shit to Georgia. Ole Miss ain't no point. Mississippi State ain't no point. Arkansas ain't no point. Texas A&M ain't no point. You see where I'm going with this? There's no other team because you got to be on the same level. And right now, Florida and Florida State probably at the same level talent-wise.
No,
Yeah,
no, we got better talent than them, man.
Florida,
you know
what? They had a top 15 recruiting class. And
we
they're right on par with Florida State, who are underperforming as far as their talent level goes. So y'all on the same level.
Oh, I'm about to say this. So you're about to tell me that we got our coach is better than the University of Florida for the last 3 seasons? That what you about to tell me?
I'm telling you that y'all are right on key to have the same record.
Wow. So Florida gonna win 10 games?
Y'all probably end up with a better record because y'all are going against worse talent.
I mean, we try to play everybody.
How does that make you feel?
We try to play everybody. We're gonna beat LSU again because they still got Brian Kelly.
You hope y'all beat LSU again.
The LSU game I'm not worried about. That's not the one I'm worried about.
You should be.
I'm worried about Wake Forest. Year in and year out.
Why are we worried about Wake Forest? Who was the first game of the season?
LSU.
That's the game that y'all should be focused on. Going into training camp, going into the first month of the season, the first team on y'all's schedule is a team that's out for blood that y'all beat last year. I would have them enemy number 1. We are preparing for LSU. We're looking at their spring game. We're looking at whatever we can to start the season 1-0. That's what you do. Because when you start looking down your schedule and you have a SEC team, number 1, you are going to start your season 0-1. Don't know what's up.
I would be remiss if I said, if we lose to LSU, the coach should not leave Tallahassee West. He should be left in New Orleans. But I digress.
I thought it was going to be at the Sugar Bowl or is it Sugar Bowl or the Orange Bowl?
That's the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. No, it's New Orleans. Oh no. You're right. It's in Orlando. Oh my God! If he lose in Orlando,
it's basically a home game.
If he lose in Orlando,
but the same was to be said about LSU. They supposedly hadn't lost in New Orleans. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to lose at the Superdome.
TP, if this man
here and with the help of Brian Kelly, because I can't even say that Florida State just beat them when they was trying to give y'all the game. They literally tried to give y'all the game, and y'all scraped out a win at the end.
I believe Marlo said it best. If we lose in Orlando, somebody gonna have to show me some fight.
We gonna find out.
Somebody gonna have to show me some fight. Me and the coaching staff gonna square up at the 50-yard line.
We gonna find out. Fuck around and find out. Season starts next month.
Marlo, you still there?
Nah, I seen him cut out. Hey, what's why the picture look small?
It is because I am broadcasting from my phone.
The power, the power situation. My bad.
Yeah. Well, so for everybody out there,
we're able to still get live today.
Yeah.
Told you I've been advertising all week, trying to get his, get our viewership up.
For those that don't know, I had a situation here with the weather in Tampa, so I was unsure of whether I was going to be able to broadcast. So I'm thankful that I am able to broadcast. Marlo, welcome back to the show. We'll just go ahead and get right into it. PP, the Commander sale is official. Daniel Snyder was found to have presided over a organization that pretty much did whatever it wanted to do whenever it wanted to do. They owed the NFL $11 million in revenue. He also was found to have sexually harassed female employees. So the NFL fined him $60 million, but he got $6 billion. So I ain't no mathematician, but if I got $6 billion and you find me 60, I'm gonna laugh at y'all and keep going.
Pretty much.
So, but yeah, $60 billion. Wow. I mean,
so they
Marlo,
have,
that's
so who they sell to is the question.
it is. Oh my God, and I apologize, y'all. I don't have all my. I got to do too much. Um, and they said name Josh something. I believe his name is. Um, and his comment today. His comment of the day was, "I will be judged by what I do for Washington," which I'm sure Washington fans are just so excited about. But they need a football stadium. Marlo, you there?
You
I
think they should
am.
move out of Orlando?
Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
I can't see it either. I don't think any of the DC sports teams actually play in DC.
No.
Nope.
Their metropolitan
Well,
area
the
is
Nats,
non-existent.
Nationals do.
The Nationals do,
The
yeah.
Nationals play.
Well,
We in here.
Marlo.
Yes, sir. But
Marlo.
forcing Daniel Snyder to sell his team changes nothing with the amount of history embedded in that organization as far as racism. And then to add on the sexual assault or harassment, there's just a lot of bad juju going on with that team, in which he needed they needed to part ways with their owner. A new face of the organization is necessary. If we're looking at the changing of the landscape in the world and in culture, they needed a new owner. Would have been better if it was a minority owner, because this would have been a perfect opportunity. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and America wasn't built in 400 years. We're still fighting that battle. So
Marlo. I think I lost him again. I is he there? And again, I apologize everybody for the technical difficulty. Um, I just don't know what the NFL is going to do, because there are billionaires out there who should be able to buy the team. The NFL, I just don't feel like they want a minority ownership. We're not going to games. We're not watching games. There's no reason for them to make it a priority to get a NFL minority ownership.
Correct. Because as we've seen in the NBA, that's changing. But the NFL is like play, the members only gold jacket.
Absolutely.
That's the NFL Owners Association. Because if you didn't know, in order to buy a team in the NFL, it has to be approved by at least, I think it's 4/5 of the owners,
Yeah.
and they don't want that because once that door is open, you can't close it back. And what we know about Pandora's box, once it's open, it creates a floodgate. This goes back to when they used to blacklist minorities from buying houses in certain neighborhoods. You ever heard the term, there goes the neighborhood? That's what they would say once a minority moved in, because they knew that more minorities would flood to that area. Once that door is open, you don't close it back. And they feel like that would destroy the integrity of the neighborhood, i.e. the NFL. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but it definitely needs to. But I think we just beating a dead horse at this point. Expecting change, but not seeing it.
I'm trying to be nice and be politically correct and not get us canceled. But geez. I'm move on because I'm gonna say something. Well, TP, this generation's GOAT is here in Miami. Messi is playing for Inter Miami.
Mm-hmm.
At a contract that is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how. I just don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about it. I want to be excited, but at the same time, I'm looking at the ownership of MLS. It's just, I don't know. It's so much. It's not top tier talent. All they got is Messi. And the great American talent is playing overseas.
Well, we know people gonna go where the money is. So,
and are we still talking about soccer?
Knew that was coming.
I don't blame them. Is it good for the sport? Maybe more. International players will come to the States and play, and we'll see an influx in popularity in soccer within the United States. And what that's going to do is create more homegrown athletes that can go get some of that overseas money. Because growing up in America, you don't really see soccer as being the primary sport. You see the baseball, football, or basketball. So that, to me, just opens up more windows of opportunities for the youth to get involved in a sport that they might actually be good at.
Marlo. Marlo is driving, so he may break up from time to time. You there, Marlo? Okay, we got you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on this road eating up 75. Just had to drop my grandbaby off.
Nah, real life happens every day, Marlo.
Yeah, sir.
I just I just want to know what you think about Messi being in Miami, Marlo.
Um, I mean, I like the music and it's cute and all, but I know we're not talking about soccer on this fucking show.
Oh my
Hey,
god! It is literally a major topic.
Oh,
I said what I said. Maybe it'll get more youth in America to play. Maybe it increases the popularity. But other than that, I really have nothing else to say about it.
I probably
And
can name more female soccer players than I can men soccer players because American soccer for the men suck ass on the world stage.
what,
They
since
suck
you said
ass.
that,
They have
since you
historically
said,
been bad. This is a fact. They
since you
have
said
historically
that,
been
brother,
bad. But that is funny. He said, I
And
know
who
what
who
about
the
soccer.
hell picked these men teams? Because they are really not the best of the best. Like, who had a fucking tryout? Need to be taken back and have a private conversation.
so there's a whole section on soccer that we was going to talk about. We really was. We, we really was. And
Moving on.
First of all, we're in the desert right now. This is the nothing life unless you're really baseball. Like even training camp news is really coming out. So I'd much rather talk about pickleball than fucking soccer.
Secondary.
These bomb ass track meets that's been on soccer. I would rather quarters against the wall and watch that shit on ESPN than talk about soccer.
why?
Agreed.
So
Why?
continue on.
I
But
just
okay. So Troy sent me the rundown. Lane Kiffin says the state of college football is a disaster.
but he made it that way.
He is complaining about the name, image, and likeness deals, and he said it on SEC Media Day in front of everybody. But in the same voice, he said, "Well, we take advantage of it. Pick a struggle, my guy. Please pick a struggle. You cannot complain
Imagine,
about something and then in the same token be like, well, I use it anyway. Just don't say nothing."
imagine Joe Kennedy talking about how bad bootlegging is. Imagine Pablo Escobar talking about the scourge of crack cocaine. That's what just happened.
Exactly.
That is exactly what just happened. And never mind the fact that these conference presidents, these conference commissioners, the NCAA president have been crying and begging for Congress to take a look at NIL. Here's the problem with all the stuff that Congress got to deal with, they ain't gonna be able to look at that no time soon. So it started to sound like y'all complaining about kids getting paid when for decades, hundreds of years, well, 100 years or more, they have been indentured servants. The Supreme Court, who I never thought was going to side with the athletes, sided with the athletes and said, you got to pay these kids in a free market way. Now they're getting paid in a free market way, and it's a problem. And it's a problem for the people who've been cheating the whole time. Alabama complained. Alabama used to have a bag man. They used to show up at recruit's house or show up at the cousin of the cousin of the cousin recruit and drop off $100,000. LSU was just put on probation because people could point out who the bag man was. Like, what we doing?
See, the bag man exists at every big college and has been there. Last time I checked, didn't Reggie Bush lose Heisman trophies because of this?
Yep.
So this ain't just happened.
Fab Five.
Didn't SMU get the death penalty almost 20-something years ago for the same thing? And they never recovered? They just now starting to be kind of good. This is something that's been going on for decades. This ain't new. But now that it's legal, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's a problem because we're cheating in the open now. It's a problem.
Yeah, now everybody can do it, and there's no limit on it. Now, I do agree there should be some type of cap, but who decides that cap? There's so many schools. There's so many prospects. How do you regulate it? Because once it's out there, what are the stipulations? Do you get paid by the school? Do you get paid by an organization that's run by the school? What is the criteria for you getting paid? Is it just a contract to go to the school and then they can do whatever they want with your name, image, and likeness? Or is there royalties attached to it with certain merchandise, certain television contracts? How does it all fit in? And I think these are the things that need to be discussed. Insurance for the players once they do accept this contract. If I accept a $100,000 contract, is it yearly base? Is it a 4-year base? Do I get it all up front? There are so many questions that need to be answered. But to simply complain about it, you're not doing anything to help the cause. It's a disaster because you said it's a disaster because it's not to your advantage. It's no longer an advantage. So no, he can miss me with that one. He tried it though. He tried it. And we all know the SEC got big pockets. Any team in the SEC can go out there and pay a player whatever. So if you're in the SEC, you have no right to say anything.
When I tell you, at one point, the entire Southwest Conference was on probation.
Mm-hmm.
That conference no longer exists. But part of the reason they no longer exist is because they were cheating like it was going out of style.
Conference USA no longer exists. Same issue.
It's mind-boggling to me because you have conferences that are fighting over TV rights. The Pac-12 just announced that they're going to speak today with their university presidents about the new television deal. And this deal is really important because it may determine whether or not Colorado go to the Big 12 or stay in the Pac-12. It's also important because If the Pac-12 TV deal is better than the ACC, I've been saying it for years. Florida State will absolutely break the ACC apart and take all of the teams with brands, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Miami, with them. And I'm sorry, Clemson. Y'all had a great run, but y'all do not have a national brand, which is why you were not invited into the SEC. But again, you know, college athletics is the dirtiest. And Northwestern showed us this in the daylight. It is the dirtiest game in town. You got kids that are lured to colleges with either money or inducements as far as education is concerned. And a lot of times it turns out not to be true. Not of their own fault. Because thanks
Right.
to the NFL, mamas don't let your babies grow up to be running backs. There's no reason for them to be running backs. Every running back in college should stay all 4 years or switch to wide receiver.
So, which brings us to our next point. Neither Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs were able to secure long-term deals this offseason while being franchise tagged. The deadline was this past Monday. They will play this season out on their $10.11 million tender, which is associated with their franchise tag. They'll be able to renegotiate a contract in the offseason. And at that time, Saquon will be 29 years old. So will Josh Jacobs. So, though Josh Jacobs will be 28.
Yeah.
So a year older, a year slower, with the capital still not increasing on the value of running backs. They potentially will make less next year than they do this year.
Hmm.
The average contract of kickers in the NFL is higher than the average contract for running backs in the NFL by at least $1 million. Kids, there are other positions besides running back. Not telling you not to play running back because it's a very fun position, but you are going to have to expand your skill set because what we're seeing is a transition in the NFL where bell cow backs aren't desired as much as they used to. Offenses are trying to expand. They want to be more flexible, and with that, they're going to need more athletic running backs that can play other positions. Now, if the franchise tag for slot receivers is higher than running backs, classify me as a wide receiver, but I'll run the ball.
Hmm.
Because at this point, it is a travesty to use a running back 400 touches a year, but pay him like he's garbage. If a kicker can get a $12 million contract, but the best running back or top 5 running back can't even come close to that, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. And the only way to fix that is they're going to have to reclassify running backs. And, you know, kids growing up right now, they need to be paying attention. Hey, I might need to learn how to catch the damn ball. I might need to learn how to run routes. Because just running the ball isn't going to get you paid.
No.
That's my take on it.
So Le'Veon Bell fought this exact same problem, and we are now reliving it. I mean, let's just be honest. We're reliving Le'Veon Bell's issue. And the NFL there's no incentivized reason for the NFL to make any changes because, and I don't know if like anybody remember on this podcast, I have not been a DeMaurice Smith fan. Him as the president of the Players Association has been an absolute travesty
Give me Gene Upshaw.
all day. But these players they're not going to strike in their best interest, which is the problem that Gene had with Danny White and Tony Dorsett. They crossed the picket line, and that ended that strike. So here we are, 40 years later, and there's still no guaranteed contract. What are we doing? Like it makes no sense to me. It's mind boggling.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is just absolute nuts. So TP, something I stumbled on to just recently. Actually stumbled onto it today, and I guess people knew, but I wasn't paying attention because I was used to the MEAC being constructed a certain way, and my whole world was just turned upside down today. Hampton and North Carolina A&T are members of the Coastal Athletic Conference.
And these are HBCUs.
HBCUs
But they're
playing
not
against
an
white
HBCU conference.
They are not.
Just clearing that up for everybody.
And I don't know how I feel about it. Because I feel like, yes, this is a good thing. But if they're not competing, it's a bad thing.
Like,
It is absolutely bad.
like you're saying, if they're just going out there getting their head kicked in.
Yeah. If they're not beating Elon, if they're not beating New Hampshire, what are you doing? What was the goal?
Well, being in a bigger conference means you have access to more money. With NIL deals in place, you are able to afford better players, which will give you a better chance of beating these schools, which in turn generates more revenue. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
That's the purpose behind that. Because you got to start somewhere. And this is what I was telling you before with all of the HBCUs. They shouldn't have to be delegated to only going against other HBCUs. If you want to increase notoriety, let them play everybody.
So, and this all really is going to come down to the whole world is going to shake up if the Pac-12 TV deal is bigger than the ACC TV deal. All hell is going to break.
Mm-hmm.
But if that ends up being the case, that opens up an opportunity for HBCUs to create a super conference. Because let's just face facts. Tennessee State, Grambling, Florida A&M, and I want to say North Carolina Central, they have a history of winning football. Then I would take the known brands, not the Johnny Come Latelys, that school in Jackson. I'm not talking about them, but your Bethune-Cookmans, your Howards, Ooh, and that's the other problem. Um, if you're gonna do a super conference, everybody ain't gonna be able to be in the super conference. Texas Southern not gonna be able to be in the super conference. Alabama A&M not gonna be able to be in the super conference. Prairie View
You
not gonna
said
be able to be.
Bethune-Cookman.
Yes, I said Bethune Cookman because right or wrong, they have a national brand.
I'm gonna just mute myself on them.
I don't want to say it like Marlo. It's me. If it's Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern and that school in Daytona for a super conference, which one are you taking?
Southern.
Wow.
You could have said Northeast High School.
I am talking as a analyst. I am not talking as a fan. We'll get to that later.
The high school probably got
I
better
ain't talking as a
facilities.
fan either. I think Northeast High School got better facilities than Bethune-Cookman.
That's
At least we
what
got
I
our own
just said.
stadium.
They probably do.
Somehow this just and I am not gonna get on here and act like I don't bash that school in Daytona on a regular basis on Twitter. I have a whole greatest hits of bashing that school in Daytona. The fact that I'm saying the school in Daytona should tell you that I am now bashing and I'm no longer analyst Troy, podcast Troy. I am fan Troy. But analyst Troy knows that it's going to need to be 12 teams to be an HBCU super conference. Everybody ain't going to be able to go. So if you
You
leave
got
out the school,
Alabama A&M. You got South
okay.
Carolina State. Like, I'm thinking of schools that you got Tennessee State.
I agree. I added Tennessee State was one of them. Yes.
You got Middle Tennessee State.
Is that an HBCU?
Yes.
Okay. But
You got
okay, so
Delaware State.
for a football conference,
It's better than damn Bethune-Cookman. They got their own stadium.
we just going off the rails now. Oh, the point I was trying to make though is the super conference. Somebody was going to be left out, and any school,
Bethune-Cookman.
any school with "the" in front of their name that really ain't there. The Fighting Acorns, the people in Mississippi, they don't
The
need to be there.
Ole Miss University.
Oh, Miss put "the" in front of it. Oh no wonder they can't win nothing.
The University of Mississippi.
You know, there's always the underachievers, but I digress. But the super conference, it's I feel like it's coming. The
Nah, they
HBU
can't
super
win because they
conference.
too busy complaining about NIL deals.
Ole Miss. Whatever happened to Ole Miss this year, they get what they deserve. And Texas A&M, let me tell you something. I don't care what happened to nobody else in Texas. But Jimbo Fisher, I hope every morning he wake up, he stub his pinky toe and hit his funny bone at 3 a.m. in the morning. I hope his players statistically have great seasons. I hope they make their way into the NFL. But I don't want Lane Kiffin to. I mean Lane Kiffin. I don't want Jimbo Fisher to win nothing. What he did to Florida State, you get 15 years for what he did to Florida State.
Mm.
But I digress. I digress. I digress. Um, couple other things that I wanted to get to earlier. The women's soccer team is on the verge of a three-peat at the World Cup. Of course, like clockwork, some idiot decided that he wanted to shoot up New Zealand on the eve, hours before the first women's World Cup match. I don't. We are literally infecting other countries with our idiot gun culture, and this is a land that has strict gun laws. So there you have it. I wouldn't be surprised if the gun came from the United States somehow. But the women's World Cup team, the women's U.S. soccer team is on the verge of winning the third World Cup. And before they left for the World Cup, there is a safe sport initiative for women's Olympic sports to protect women and children from predatory adults, coaches, trainers, and alike. These women have asked for. I know people are not calling me during the podcast. That's not even happening. That's not happening. Um, wow. Um, they are asking for the organization to be overhauled because it is not providing the protections that it was initially set out for. And that has now become an issue. Um, I just want to say that every child should be able to participate in their sport without having to worry about their safety. That requires us as parents to do our due diligence. There is no, oh, I'm riding home with the coach. There is no, I'm staying extra to work with the coach. Ain't none of that shit. If my child is going to get extra instruction, oh, I'm there with my child. We not doing that thing where we drop the children off and then come back and pick them up. I don't. That drop off shit don't work no more. It's not. Mm-mm. We with our kids. We involved in the activities, and I'm saying this as a former little league coach. There was a time when I coached little league and AAU basketball that I had parents involved in every phase of practice, games, the whole 9 yards. They didn't miss a beat. What we're seeing now is that predators are comfortable in the fact that they are going to spend time alone with your kids. We have to break our mindset. We are involved in the careers of our children, so this is no longer a thing. Like, we got to be involved. Um, TP, I know you just had a new young one. I'm interested to hear your views on it.
You talking about as
The
far
other,
as youth sports shows, or you
yes.
talking about like expanding the responsibility of the parents or the coaches?
There's supposed to be an oversight when it comes to these organizations. So greater background checks, um, better training for parents and coaches as far as what's okay, as far as like if you're doing extra practice, what should the coach's etiquette be? Like, I'm not bringing your child home without you being on the phone with me or there being constant communication as far as your child's safety is concerned. For me as a parent, yeah, you ain't even got to worry about bringing my kid home. I'm already there.
Yeah, so there's a it's a gray area, right? because we have kids who don't have very involved parents, but we don't want to see these kids fall through the cracks. So as the coaches, you step up more. Hey, I'll come get them. I'll make sure they come home. I get them home. If you trust me, that's the parent's decision, right? Or the guardian's decision, whatever their home situation is. Yes, there should be better background checks, automatic eliminating factors like, any type of sexual assault on adult or child should automatically be a disqualifying factor. Felonies, of course. But I had a lot of kids that they wouldn't have been at the game or at practice had a coach not went and got them. You know what I mean? So do you just disband the whole team because you don't have enough involvement from the parents? Because all that's going to do is hurt the other kids whose parents do show up and do bring them to practice. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you have the luxury of, not caring whether or not this child comes, then that's on that team, that's on that organization. But everybody don't have that luxury. And I live in a small town, so everybody know each other. They damn near all related. So it's kind of like, it's like a family at the end of the day. It's that whole village mindset. If that answers your question.
I know, I think Marlo's back with us. I just know for a very long time, and just to be clear, when I coached, I was a much younger man with more free time and less responsibilities. But at that time, I was blessed enough to have way more support than when I played. Meaning, I saw more parents involved in their children's activities when I coached than when I played. My parents was there, but you didn't have like a whole tribe of parents being there. They get off work, pick up their kids, drop them off at practice, and then pick them up at the end of practice when I was growing up. When I coached as a young adult, it was the parents was there, and I'm not saying every parent was there, but like 80% of the parents was there. So it was a difference. And I probably, because it was in Tallahassee, was blessed in that it was a small town and like everybody was so close knit. But when my youngest son was playing soccer, I was a little concerned. And this was I-9 sports. Most of these people are affluent people. And it's just a drop off situation. I was like, this is crazy. But I do see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying.
It's just everybody don't have the luxury of that. Sometimes you have to depend on other sources, or I was pretty upset, to be honest, that the coaches had so much responsibility as far as getting kids to practice and getting them to games. I'll be sitting out. There were times where I would get to the game and I brought the quarterback with me because he's family. He's my little cousin. He rides with me. His dad brings him to me and we go to the game. We're the first ones there. Half the team shows up with one of the coaches. Another quarter of the team shows up with the other coach. And then the rest of the stragglers are either late or they just didn't come. Very frustrating. Now, those kids that roll with the coaches, they would not have been there had they not rolled with the coach. We wouldn't have been able to play. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then when you have all these kids that then their parents done paid their money, they didn't get them to the game on time, or they got them there at all. It's a lot of wasted dollars, you know, if their responsibility isn't shared.
Yeah. And again, I don't think I have the answers. People way smarter than me who are involved with the early childhood development will probably have better answers than I would. It's just it is tough. It is a tough situation to put coaches in. It is a tough situation for the kids to be in because they are literally relying on the goodwill of adults to be safe and sound. So
Yeah.
it's a rough situation. TP, the NFL season officially started with the New York Jets opening training camp. And Aaron Rodgers, the man, the myth, he's just a myth because all that talk about the baddest man, I ain't seen it yet. But the man, the myth, the drug addict, was at training camp, and all Jets fans, including Mike Greenberg of ESPN, are giddy about the possibility of getting to a Super Bowl. And I'm old enough to see all manner of quarterbacks play for the New York Jets. I even saw a quarterback that beat and had a better record against Dan Marino, and he still never went to the Super Bowl. And I'm supposed to believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to lead them to the Super Bowl.
Why wouldn't
I
he?
can't.
Why wouldn't he?
So,
and my first question is, do you not think that the Jets have a playoff ready roster?
yes, they have a playoff ready roster.
Without, and this is, and I'm talking without Aaron Rodgers. Without Aaron Rodgers, are they a playoff ready team?
No, because without Aaron Rodgers last year, they did not make the playoffs.
What was their record?
I think they were like 10 and what was that?
10
They
and
were
7.
10-7. Okay.
So 10-7, and some of the other divisions did make the playoffs. You know, you take a 10-7 team and you give them a former MVP, they go to the Super Bowl. Now, where have we seen this before? Because this is the first time that a MVP quarterback on one team went to another team. Peyton Manning went from the Colts to the Broncos, went to the Super Bowl. That Broncos team was playoff ready, just missing a quarterback. Tom Brady went from New England to Tampa, won the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, but what I am saying is he is a MVP quarterback who is going to a playoff ready team. And he's a 4-time MVP and a Super Bowl winner and a Super Bowl MVP. He's done this with a lesser roster. And at a time where that division may have been a little bit more difficult, you know, given the Bears defense, the Vikings offense. He did this then, right? Going to the Jets, they 100% are a playoff team with a great chance of making a Super Bowl. If they can knock off the Chiefs, hey, the Chiefs already shown that they are vulnerable. You can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are far from invincible. So You know, it's just how the chips fall. Are they just a Super Bowl team? They can be. They can be. It just depends on how they develop the talent that they've acquired over the past 2 years.
So my question is, did Patrick Mahomes die?
You said it's
And
Patrick Mahomes. What?
is Patrick Mahomes dead?
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Why would Patrick Mahomes be washed or anything else than the forerunner for NFL MVP this year? Why would he be anything else?
So that is why I do think. Well, if we're saying a chance, you know what? You're right. The Jets do have a chance. I would not give them more than a chance.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is just getting started. And you asked me what a Jets a Super Bowl team, and I said they can be. The Chiefs are not invincible. They're not. But Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are a tough out. And then to add in Isaiah Pacheco and their running game, you know, there are a lot of things that the Chiefs do that make it very difficult for other defenses. And then with the arm talent that Patrick Mahomes has, he can do whatever he wants, basically. The way to beat Patrick Mahomes is to force him to make bad throws and pray that it doesn't miraculously get to the receiver. Because we've seen him make some circus throws. You got to put pressure on him, though. You got to put pressure on him.
I'm about to make a whole bunch of people mad.
I've seen Patrick Mahomes on one leg go out there and dot a NFL defense to death on one leg. The man couldn't even run. But the Jets, what they've done is they've increased their pass rush. They've increased their secondary. They now have a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. They have a good running back, a first-round draft pick full of their offensive line is full of first-round draft picks. They have the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson, the defensive rookie of the year in Sauce Gardner. If you telling me that roster with all that talent can't compete with the Chiefs, you're crazy. They can compete, but the question is, will they beat them? Will it be enough? And I think they're a year away. I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat. They a tough out. That's just, they a tough out. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. There's a reason they gave this man $500 million.
And here's my favorite thing on the other side of the NFL. Why are NFL executives disrespecting Jalen Hurts?
Because he's not that good.
Oh man.
Now I can really piss off some Eagles fans right now. I can do it. I can go there. Jalen Hurts.
He was an MVP candidate until he got hurt.
Jalen Hurts is an above-average quarterback. He's an above-average quarterback.
I gotta get perspective. Do you think Jalen Hurts is better than Tua?
No.
Okay. All right. It is mine.
I think before you get to that, I think Jalen Hurts is more durable than Tua. So that kind of would put him better than Tua because I would trust Jalen Hurts staying on the field longer. He actually knows how to not get his block knocked off. Tua can see a car coming and he will still stand there. Tua couldn't dodge an 18-wheeler and bumper-to-bumper traffic. How about that? So, the thing about the Dolphins, they are a playoff team if Tua stays healthy, but he's not going to stay healthy. He's going to miss some games, whether it be 1, whether it be 7. He's most likely going to miss games. Now, I'm not wishing that in his future. I would never do that because I actually think he is a really good quarterback. He has a decent arm. I would say when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, all you got to do is hike the ball and throw it as far as you can. You can't really overthrow them, but he still manages to underthrow them. You know, I kind of knew that was going to happen. But as far as him and his arm talent, it's better than Jalen Hurts. His decision making better than Jalen Hurts.
So since it had to be said, Tyreek Hill says that he's gonna get 2,000 yards because it had to be said. And I'm gonna say what I say. Tua is not going to allow you to be a 2,000-yard receiver.
Why not?
He's not gonna be on the field.
Damn. Damn. That
He is a concussion away from the end of his career.
You know, and that's a whole nother topic because we've seen the damage concussions can do to a person, you know, post NFL career. You know, I'll use, you know, RIP Junior Seau. The amount of hits to the head that he sustained over his long Hall of Fame career led to CTE, led to early stages of dementia. He was losing his mind, literally. And that was from the repeated trauma to the head.
Hell, I can give you
has
a
to
living.
think about the rest of his life at this point. You know, football is a game and we love to watch it, but your life is your life. And once you're getting to the point where this can be something that will end your life early, he might need to walk away. Do you remember Chris Borland?
Mm-hmm.
The linebacker for the 49ers. He played a couple seasons and then he was like, you know what?
I'm out.
My longevity on this planet is more important than my longevity playing this game of football. And he walked away.
Mary Hodge woke up one day and decided that he was a Republican. That's how bad his brain injuries was. NFL fullback, just colliding with people. Went to Kansas City and could not find his way to work. And he retired. Too many concussions. Tua is headed right down that same path. Anytime you got to take...
It's sad because he is such a good player. When he was at Alabama, it was the hip problems. It was the lower extremity issues he was having from taking hits. So now we've upgraded the concussions. There's only so much his 6 foot, 190-pound frame can take.
You know,
he don't know how to fall.
Yeah, he don't know how to fall.
Like they should have had his ass in one of them phone rooms and videotaped him just falling. Because every time he falls in his head. If you look at when he get concussed, like protect yourself.
You know, in my time in boxing, the first thing they taught us was protect yourself at all times. He don't do that. He leaves himself very susceptible to head injuries. And you know, it's sad that would be the way his career is ended early. Not because he couldn't play. You don't ever want it to be anything besides you just weren't good enough. Because when it's taken out of your hands, that's something that stings in a different type of way. You know, Because we all got callings. We all got gifts, you know, but there are limitations that every individual has. But if your limitation isn't trumped by any other force, well, if your limitation is trumped by any other force, then it becomes some sort of a tragedy, you know. You know, we can look at how Steve Young's career ended, how Troy Aikman's career ended. They had years left. They were good enough to still be in the league. Not with those concussions.
And I'm sorry, Miami fans. Y'all not going to the Super Bowl. Y'all not even gonna win your conference. Your quarterback, I give him 6 games. That's it. After that, Marlo gonna be playing quarterback for y'all.
No, I am not. First of all, you hit me, and this a problem. Like when I was in my football days, I was about that life. A 300-pound dude hit me right, it's gonna be another incident on the news. So yeah, I ain't playing quarterback for nobody.
Did anybody get the license plate on that truck that just came through?
I'm here to tell you.
Oh man.
And I have access to the locker room. We ain't worried about it leaving the stadium. Just know, if you in the same locker room, don't have no locker by the motherfucker who hit me.
All right, Marlo. Since you know you've chosen violence today,
It's Thursday. Violence.
Your Buccaneers open training camp soon.
Yep,
Who
I'll
is your
be there
quarterback?
the 31st.
Who's your quarterback?
Trask.
Cal Trask.
I thought he said trash.
He is. He trash. But you got this $9 million quarterback.
Please, sir.
But you got this $9 million quarterback on your roster.
And you know how much we
Derek
paid our left
guy.
tackle last year? Who was on our roster?
Too much.
Too much. You can't average 2 penalties a game at left tackle.
That's why Worth is transitioned to left tackle. But okay, all right. Let's just say.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what happened. He got pulled out the game. His daddy was up in the stands talking about don't pull my boy out, and some little girl had to tell him that he's getting beat like he stole something.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Just bad business.
Oh God.
He's getting beat like he stole something. And you know how you know when an offensive lineman is really getting beat? Like, it's one thing to have a lot of holding calls. When you start averaging 3 false starts a game, that means that you know that you finna get beat. It becomes psychological at that point. You know the snap count.
This
is
the baddest part about all. This is the baddest part about all that. Quarterback, he don't hold the ball. The ball, you 50 pounds. All you have to do is stand up and hold your arms out.
Yeah, that wasn't working, Marlo. They were just running around this fast.
He was so bad. Like, that motherfucker was horrible.
But Marlo, you
He
putting up
probably was
smoke
the
and
reason he
mirrors.
got hurt.
No, Marlo, you putting up smoke and mirrors. We talking about your quarterback position that you don't want to address because you know your best quarterback on your roster.
I already told you who I started quarterback.
But he's not the best quarterback on your roster.
Why he not?
Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback on your roster.
Not
Yeah.
not the Schooner. Not the
Says
Boomer
who?
Schooner.
So wait.
Baker Mayfield is horrible.
Oh my.
It is a
So what is it
reason
gonna be?
why he's already beat for 4 different teams.
And hasn't won jack shit.
It is a reason.
Maybe the Bucks is the right situation.
No. He had the right situation. He had Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. He still was terrible.
So
You wanted that.
Baker Mayfield has shown us what he can do, and that he is not that guy. He couldn't get it done in Sean McVay's offense. That told me everything I need to know. He had one good game, and after that, it was downhill.
The biggest problem with Baker Mayfield is he's always playing over his skis.
Yep.
He's always playing, thinking his arm is bigger than it is, thinking that he's taller than he is. And he's always playing, or he's missing wide open receivers, underthrowing them. Like,
that's because he isn't accurate.
You had Landry and you had Odell Beckham on the team, and you could not get them the ball. How? How is that possible?
if there is a good and righteous God, Baker Mayfield will be the Buccaneers starting quarterback week 1.
First of all, don't be talking about my God, because he is always good and always righteous.
If you want the Buccaneers to be a subpar team, go ahead and start Baker Mayfield. Subpar. That means outside the playoffs. The Falcons will have a better record than Tampa Bay if they start Baker Mayfield.
They gonna have a better record than Tampa Bay, regardless.
They better. I was just talking about this the other day, how the Atlanta Falcons have built around Desmond Ridder. They've given him every chance to win on the offensive side of the ball. That's not saying whether or not the defense can play ball, but we know the offense has talent. So if they're not putting up, if they're not at least scoring, if the defense is the problem, then you can address it in the offseason. But if you can't score with the weapons that he has, you're fired.
Yeah, that head coach gone.
No, I'm talking about Desmond Ridder. He fired.
That's probably true too. Oh man. Oh man. And it's not that I want the Bucks to personally fail, because Marlo is a season. Let me finish. Marlo is a season ticket holder, and he has great free food before the game that I enjoy. So I don't want them to fail personally to the point where he don't want to come to the games. I don't ever want that to happen. I'm just saying, it's some good food.
That's never going to happen. I might get banned from the game. That's always an underlying possibility. But I'm always going to be there.
Oh, God. I just know if Marlo get banned from the game as a season ticket holder, it's going to be on SportsCenter.
Because that man is not going quietly into that good night. They're going to need half of the staff to get them out of there.
When y'all get the text, get your popcorn. Just know it's coming down. You know, Kevin Hart had a joke where he said, and he went to school, oh, it's gonna be some off script shit.
Just get behind me. All I'm saying is, it's about to go.
Ain't seen the inside of the holding cell in Raymond James Stadium.
You will that day.
They talk about banning me. I could add yet to that. They gonna have to put me. They go. I'm gonna get handcuffed.
Burn it down.
And I might get tased.
Man,
I'm probably gonna get handcuffed, and I'm gonna probably get tased.
it's not a good look, Marlo.
No, I'm not saying that is my intent going into the season, or
Have you ever been
will
tased?
it ever be? No, I've never had the prongs, but I have been touched with the taser. And that was on some voluntary stuff. That wasn't because I was just out there in them streets like, fuck the police.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I give it 1 star. Would not recommend.
Oh God. Oh man.
I give it 1 star. Would not recommend.
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I'm pretty much giving up on the Raiders. I'm just waiting on them.
That's your team, pimp.
It is. And I know in order to be great, you sometimes gotta burn down the castle. So
that's never a thing. You don't burn down your house. You might want to redecorate it, but you don't burn it down.
No, we need a whole cleansing. We need the house to be blessed. We need to just burn the whole thing down. We got Tom Brady in the front office. Like this whole New England part 2 shit. No, I ain't with it. I ain't even with it. Every time we lose, I'm gonna blame Tom Brady. And if I happen to be in a luxury box in Vegas and I see him pass by, how much is bail for assault in Las Vegas?
Too much.
It's gonna be in one of them damn desert work camps.
Tent City.
I'm gonna need to fight my way out because
No, that's Arizona.
Yeah. I feel like Tom Brady is the cause of so many problems in Vegas. His fake legacy, the whole 9 yards. Then the bitch legacy.
How is his legacy fake?
That it was a fumble. Bitch, we know it was a fumble. Your whole legacy is based off that one fumble.
So
only thing you did good was man high.
So what you saying is just fuck everything that happened after that.
Yeah, pretty much. I ain't like y'all. I'm not gonna just give him props. Fuck Tom Brady. It's been a while since I've been able to say that. But fuck Tom Brady.
Boo-hoo.
Wow. That's awesome.
Y'all know what?
Tom Brady is sitting at home right now, absolutely not concentrating on anything Troy has to do in his life.
Okay.
Troy over here screaming sour grapes. Over some shit that happened 21 years ago.
You know, some people are professional grudge holders. I am one of those such people.
We can see that.
But I'm honest about mine. There are people that hold grudges silently for years. I just get mine. I exercise them demons.
But as crazy as it is, he's held this grudge. We just lose Marlo.
I think he coming back.
Marlo got to hear this.
Yeah, he
Marlo,
back.
you back?
Marlo, he in the app, but yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. So, as long as he has held this grudge, I mean, it's been a long time, over 20 years, right? It still ain't as long as it's been since the Cowboys been to a Super Bowl.
And PP is an example of a professional grudge holder. He just waited a whole podcast to shoot at Dallas for no reason at all. Oh my god. Oh man.
Just saying.
He took time out his day. Mom, he just took time out his whole day. He's like, you know what? Dallas been getting a pass. Let me shoot at them real quick. Oh.
Hey, y'all ever watch Fairly Odd Parents, where the dad would see Dingleberry and it was on site every time?
That shit is funny.
That's pretty much the same thing that I got for Dallas.
That shit is hilarious.
I can understand that. I really can understand that.
See, how you feel for Dallas, that's how I feel for Bethune-Cookman.
For that team in Daytona.
Huh?
Oh man. So here's what's funny, Marlo. Ask Grandma is a very big alumnus from that school in Daytona. And when I talked to her, I referred to that school in Daytona as Bethune-Cookman because she's earned that respect. But if you see me on Twitter, unless I'm talking about somebody very important, it's that school in Daytona. It is. It's that school in Daytona. And I don't have as much beef. Listen how crazy this is, Marlo. In Florida, when we was growing up, they asked you if you was FAMU or that school in Daytona. Because of the abuse I suffered at the hands of Jackson State, I have slightly more beef with Jackson State. This is a school that has never won more than 6 black national championships. They're not even in the blue blood of HBCUs. And for everybody who don't know, it's Tennessee State, Grambling State, FAMU, and North Carolina Central. That's it. Nobody else has enough national championships to qualify. And if you want to throw a cherry on the top, FAMU is the only one to win an FCS/1AA championship.
Right.
But Jackson State be talking like they did something. You ain't never did nothing. You like them wannabe has-been rappers. You ain't never been nothing. And you ain't never gonna be nothing. But I ain't shitting on y'all. I want y'all to get y'all stadium together and get your weight room and all that wonderful stuff. I'm just saying. I seen what you people did putting me side by side by Norbert. I ain't forgot. I ain't gonna never forget.
That shit is funny.
That's hilarious.
So, you know what? I'm gonna kick it
I
off
don't
this
think I would have
real
trusted
quick.
him after that.
And you know why it don't bother me? Because they do all this jibber jabber, but when you put up FAMU Trophy Room and you put up Jackson State Trophy Room, nobody wants to talk. They want to talk about the two games they won.
Of course.
That's what they want to talk about. But when I say your trophy room look a little light, nobody don't want to talk. But I
That trophy
digress.
room still like
Um, this week, this is gonna be a little different take for me. Um, I live in Florida, and for those who don't know, our current governor is got all manner of bullshit going on. And today we found out that there has been an amendment to the advanced African American study courses for middle schoolers. One interesting point in the new study change is that in the course, it is going to be taught that slaves learn life skills that help them in life. In slavery, they learn this. Please understand, teachers of Ash in the near future. If my son ever come home and tell me about the life skills that slaves gained from slavery, I'm gonna be at your car the next day. That school fight movie, I'm gonna be Ice Cube. It ain't gonna be over till you don't get up no more. This ain't no threat. This ain't no violent tone. This is the earned ass whooping you are going to get because you have directly affronted me and my children as African Americans. It's gonna be some misunderstandings. It's gonna be furniture moved. I'm from a tribe called Whoop a Motherfucker Ass, and this governor is making me homesick. There is no possible way that any of this should have ever gotten through. But we live in a state that they've spent decades breaking down the teachers union to the point to where we have teacher shortages. They can't even automatically debit dues into their coffers because the governor doesn't want them to have readily available funds to fight this manner of bullshit. The only unions that the Republicans want around are the unions that they can control, the police and fire unions, because they are nothing but automatons running around spouting off bullshit. The reason that elections have consequences, and I'm not just talking about your governor elections, I'm not just talking about the presidential elections or your Senate elections, county commissioner, board of education, all of these elections are important because they have repercussions of your children's lives. They will harm your kids if you keep allowing them to put themselves in positions to hurt your kid. You need to vote. If you have relatives in Florida who are convicted felons, there are mechanisms in place to allow them to vote. They have to follow the process. You need to take these local elections seriously because this is what happens. And some of you might be offended by what I just said. Just turn it around. If somebody was treating and harming your kids, what would be your reaction? It ain't gonna be no kumbaya. You're gonna want to put your hands on somebody. And when somebody tell me that somebody's going to degrade my child in school amongst his peers, I'm going to put my hands on somebody. That's my time. Marlo TP, y'all got it.
Well, it's been a little bit since I've been on the podcast. Been a little busy, but I want to say that I'm looking forward to the upcoming NFL football season. Not just because I think our team, my team, is going through a identity crisis, but I'm guarantee you that we're going to finish heads and tails above where the critics predict us to. So mine's also going to be short and sweet. I'm ready.
By the way, fans, just so everybody know, them critics, he talking about me. TP?
What they better not do is let the Bucks win more than 5 games.
We're going to see.
That's what they better not do.
We are going to see. But it is almost fall. It is time to strap up. If you got to get you a new TV, this is the time to do it. Get all your snacks together. It's about to get popping. It is football for the next 6 months. Every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. College football season starts next month. Florida State got a hell of a time with LSU. They feeling very confident. I feel like their confidence is misplaced, but we are definitely going to find out. There's a reason they have to still play the game. CJ Stroud, you got all of Houston behind you, my dog. Let's cook. That's my time for y'all this week.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely want to thank everybody that came out for Gathering Old Men Podcast. Under some unusual circumstances, but like I said, I've had some power outages, and I just want to make sure that we gave you guys content. Shout out to all the HBCU alums. Shout out to the Kappas in Tampa for their conclave. Thank y'all for the lovely, lovely donations. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a very good weekend. To all the FAMU fans, I can't wait till Miami. It's gonna be glorious. We still trying to figure out how we're gonna get Mrs. TP to come down and enjoy some of the festivities. We working on it without getting TP stabbed in his sleep. But other than that, again, 48 hours. This will be on all your streaming platforms. Marlo, we're gonna work on our bets next week for the Bucks season because I'm feeling a little confident. You talking about above 5 games? Woo. With Baker Mayfield as quarterback, it's gonna be tough. But for everybody here at Gathering Old Men Podcast, myself, TP, and Marlo, we are out. Oh, Jesus.
I think we still live though.
We still live. It's rough working from these other devices. It is absolutely rough working from these other devices.